Welcome, and thank you for joining us for Charlotte's UDO You. I'm Allison Craig, Interim Planning Director for the City of Charlotte. Charlotte's UDO You aims to help viewers understand the purpose of the Unified Development Ordinance, also known as the UDO. Today, we will share information related to Neighborhood 1 zoning districts. Throughout the show, you will notice a QR code on your screen. You can scan it and it will take you to our website, charlotteudo.org, where you can explore all of the topics that you're most interested in. The second draft of the UDO will be released in late May. The UDO includes many new regulatory approaches in areas that include parking, tree preservation, transportation, and drainage, and will expand on how we advance community priorities of affordable housing, public open space, and the environment, as well as promote small, minority, and women-owned firms. Before we begin with our topic for today, let's welcome special guest, Planning Commission Chairperson Kiba Samuels. Welcome, Kiba. Will you share with us the purpose and the work of the Planning Commission?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Allison. I'm glad to be here with you. The Planning Commission is a body of 14 people. Its primary purpose is to advise city elected officials and county officials on land use policies. That's going to be long-range plans like the comprehensive plan, rezoning petitions, and the like. We operate in two separate committees, the Planning Committee and the Zoning Committee, and it's been a pleasure to serve.
Great, thank you. I appreciate your work on the Planning Commission and support for ensuring that we work together for the betterment of our community. Now let's jump into today's topic, Neighborhood 1 zoning districts. To begin, I think it's important to note where you can find information on the Neighborhood 1 zoning districts in the UDO. You can find this information in Part 3, Article 4. Here's a graphic that breaks down district comparisons. N1A is comparable to R3. N1B is comparable to R4. N1C is comparable to R5. N1D is comparable to R6 and R8. Finally, N1E is comparable to UR1. N1F is a new type of district that allows small townhomes and multifamilies on arterials.
Allison, can you help viewers gain a better understanding of these comparisons?
Absolutely. The current conventional zoning district classifications are shown on the screen and will exist until the effective date of the UDO. The new standards set forth in the UDO for these zoning districts will apply to all properties within such zoning districts. Conditional districts and optional districts in effect before the effective date of the UDO are addressed in Section 1.4C. Conditional and optional zoning won't change until rezonings are submitted for these sites sometime after the UDO goes into effect.
Thanks, Allison. After the break, we'll discuss uses in Neighborhood 1A through Neighborhood 1E zoning districts and development standards.
Plus, duplex, triplex height limit, alternative development options, and overlay districts. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now let's talk through uses in N1A through N1E zoning districts and development standards. Here's what's allowed for the N1A through N1E zoning districts. Single-family, duplex, and triplex dwellings on all lots. Quadruplex dwellings on arterial streets when an affordable housing unit is provided. These districts also allow civic uses such as schools and places of worship. For the N1F zoning districts, all of the dwelling types described previously that were allowed in N1A through N1E zoning districts are allowed. The addition for this particular zoning district is that small-scale townhomes and multifamily dwellings are also allowed. N1A through N1E district highlights include the following. As I said previously, single-family, duplex, and triplex dwellings are allowed on any lot. Quadruplex dwellings are allowed on arterial streets when an affordable housing unit is provided. Residential density will not be regulated by dwelling units per acre, or DUA. Instead, minimum lot size will be used. Minimum lot size vary by district, but they are the same for all dwelling types, whether it's single-family, duplex, etc. Similarly, front, side, and rear setbacks vary by district, but they are also the same for all dwelling types. There is a maximum height for duplexes and triplexes in established neighborhoods, which is controlled based on the height of nearby dwellings, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in a minute. Accessory dwelling units, are also known as ADUs, are allowed on lots with a single-family dwelling or a duplex. Only one driveway is allowed per street frontage, and the parking for duplexes, triplexes, and quadruplexes are required to be on the side or rear of a dwelling. And finally, we have new overlay districts that are available to preserve neighborhood character, and we'll talk about this a little bit more as well.
Now, Allison, a lot of people have questions about the duplex, triplex height limit. Can you tell us a little bit more about what this addition would mean to community members and stakeholders?
The first draft of the UDO regulated duplex and triplex heights by limiting the side walls of the structure to be the average of the neighboring buildings, or 12 feet, whichever is greater. This is intended to make sure that the new duplex and triplex buildings fit into our established neighborhoods. The new recommendation that will come out in the draft later in May will be that height is limited instead to 20 feet, beginning at the first floor, or the average of the neighboring residential buildings, whichever is greater.
Thanks, Allison. Now, what are the alternative development options, such as Article 4.5A, Conservation Residential Development, and Article 4.5B, Voluntary Mixed Income Bonus?
The Conservation Residential Development option allows the lots on the interior of a development to be smaller if 10% of the site is preserved as common open space, 50% of which has to be tree safe. The Voluntary Mixed Income Development option allows you to develop under the next higher zoning district if you provide affordable housing at 80% AMI or greater on at least half of the additional lots allowed. So instead of going through a rezoning, you can use the heights, setbacks, building coverage, and other standards of the next district that is approved by staff.
Very useful information. Thank you so much for sharing that. And finally, can you walk us through overlay districts?
Sure. The UDO includes the Historic District Overlay, which exists now. There is a new Neighborhood Character Overlay, which establishes regulations unique to each neighborhood and designed to maintain the established character of the neighborhood. We have a Residential Infill Overlay that addresses the building size, height, and setbacks of new infill buildings to make sure they fit into our neighborhoods. We also have the Cottage Court Overlay that allows small lot development, typically around a common open space. A rezoning of a property is needed for any of these overlays to be used. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back. I would like to thank Kiba for joining us for today's show. The work of the Planning Commission is so important and vital to the growth of Charlotte. So last show, we had a Twitter poll question. Let's briefly take a look at those results. Let's see how you all do answering our new Twitter question. Visit @CLTGov on Twitter and respond to our Charlotte's UDO You Twitter question. After you chime in, we'll post the correct answer and see who knows their information when it comes to the UDO. Here's the question. When was the last full rewrite of Charlotte's zoning ordinance? A, 1975, B, 1985, C, 1993, or D, 2007? Again, visit @CLTGov on Twitter to answer the question and stay tuned for our reply with the correct answer. Thank you for watching Charlotte's UDO and You, and be sure to save the date for our next show at 7 p.m. on Thursday, May 26th, where we will discuss the second draft of the UDO and key changes within the draft.